Morning. My name is Nick. My co-star Otto's right here drinking water off of the lawn chair here. And this is a Theater Permaculture vlog. So yeah, we're back at it, back working into the garden at last. I'm really excited about that actually. Obviously we're going to check on the chickens and everything and the compost as usual. That's just going to be a regular part of the process now. As long as I have compost and as long as I have baby chicks, which will probably be at least the next month. So we got lots going on. I actually walked a little bit last night to clean up a little bit so I could kind of prep for today to get everything a little bit ready. So I have a little bit of footage there that I'll talk to you about and tell you what I did. And other than that, I think let's just get started and we'll see where we get to. Here's Otto, the kitty. Yeah. So heading on over to the chickens. Just take a quick peek in before we go in. We got the rooster and the alpha hen now, I think, because my mama, the other mama, is now taking care of babies and doesn't really care so much about being alpha or not. So I think she's taking over. They're just hanging out here waiting for me. Mama's down there with her chicks, and I'm up here getting food for them. So I mentioned this in yesterday's video. If you didn't see it, feel free to check it out. I'll leave it linked right above here. But I basically soak the feed for the chicks. I don't have a separate chick feed just because I haven't gone to the feed store yet. And usually the chick feed's really full of these medicines that, I don't know, seem questionable to me. So I feel like there's probably a few different schools of thought on whether or not medicines for your chick is good. My guess is there is, but certainly will help them kind of get through everything. But in my opinion, I want my chicks to be able to just handle life here as it is. I don't really want to have to help them along the way. Obviously, I will help them along the way if they have an issue, but yeah, it just doesn't really make sense to me to have to give them medicated feed and they're constantly eating these medicines that I don't really understand or know what's in them. I'm not like an anti-medicine kind of guy. I personally don't take medicine too often. I like to try to get my my medicine and my health from the food I'm eating. But I am prone to migraine, so when I need to, I certainly will take like an Excedrin migraine or something like that, you know, because otherwise it'll literally last all day. And sometimes I just can't see or move, so it helps me. So like, I'm not against medication, but for chicks and for domestic animals, I don't want to have to work very hard to make them live, because that's basically selecting a breed stock that is not so adapted for wherever I'm living, and also not adapted for just like life here in the tropics. So I want my breed stock and I want all my animals to be able to handle the conditions that are here, which are, you know, somewhat challenging because we are in the tropics. You know, we're in the tropics here, so it's hot, humid, lots going on. But I really want my hens and my hopefully they're all hens, the new chicks, to be able to basically have that and be okay with living without me having to help them to a huge degree. There you go, mama. So there's the soaked feed, bringing into the chicks. And look, this mama always wants to come and see what, and basically just take over. So I'm gonna try to keep her up here. Come on, go up here, mama. Go up here. Come on, go up here. You have your own food up here. I just gave you your own food. It's right here. It's right there. Look, right here. Look. You see? It's right here. You eat that. Good. All right, so let's take a look at this compost pile real quick. It's kind of hard to tell with the contrast. Everything's brown around here. Oh, look at this. The cat is climbing on this shade cloth. So he likes to come and climb on the shade cloth, so he can get up on top of the coop there, and then he just walks down, and he just likes to play on the shade cloth, really. He usually doesn't do anything, he just looks down and watches everything. Although, like I've been saying, with the chicks, I'm a little less trusting of them on here, so we'll see. But he's pretty funny. Anyway, back to the compost. Sorry, I get distracted pretty easily, especially with the animals. Compost, we're still at above 140 basically. Right now we're at 140, looks like 4. So I think that's down about a degree from yesterday, but that's just fine. But on this side especially, the chickens have really started to kick it open, which is tells me a couple things. One, it's an indication that the pile is quite active, so there's lots of microbiological life in there, and it's starting to attract all the little insects and critters that come and feed on that life. So it's basically telling me, yes, you got a good pile. Your pile's heating up well. So this is good, but they're actually starting to kick so much of it off here that I'm starting to lose a big part of my mass in here. So I'm a little bit worried about that, but just because I want to do one more turn so I can get all that stuff into the center of the pile before I just let the chickens kind of take over. And the main reason is I just want to try to kill all those weed seeds, the pathogens too, but because I have my compost system integrated with the chickens are always going to be interacting with it, so their manure is going to essentially be dropped there occasionally while they're scratching through. So I accept that in my garden, in my personal garden, because it's my personal garden. I'm okay with having the potential for something not so great there because I'm letting the chickens interact. But if you're doing this on if you're composting for a commercial scale or for sale or anything like that, probably not the best choice to integrate the chickens. So it's really just a matter of what your lifestyle is, what your goals are. If you are doing compost like for sale, especially for organic or anything like that, probably wouldn't be good to integrate it with the chickens. But for me here, it's not a big deal. So cat just fell from there. Cat, you probably don't want to be in here. You're probably gonna get attacked. Put you right back up where you came from, buddy. Be careful when you're up there. I can't protect you. If you're up here all the time, you fall in and the rooster starts attacking you, that's on you. That's not on me. That's not on me. That's on you because you're climbing. That's your fault. Natural consequences, guys. Natural consequences. If I weren't here and he fell in here, the rooster would probably be all over him and start attacking him, and that's his fault. He'd have to try to figure out a way out. So I'll help him while I'm here, but not always. Let's see, just gonna check their water here. That's full enough. I basically just push it and I can tell based on the weight if it's full enough. And then this one I have out for the chicks because I don't think the chicks have quite learned how to use that. So I am gonna refill this real quick. You see all those buckets lined up there. So I spent about, I don't know, maybe an hour washing them. So these were all from, a lot of them were just basically where they had the manure in, the horse manure for the compost. So I just wanted to give it a nice thorough wash just to make sure there's nothing left over there that's not so great. And then the 2 black buckets are actually from the roof sealer when I was sealing the roof. So I cleaned those out so we have more 5-gallon buckets, which is a resource that appears to be ever in need. You always need more 5-gallon buckets, I find. So I try to save as many as I possibly can. Otto's now on top of the egg box. Ooh, is he gonna make the jump? Can you do it? Wow, nice jump, bud. Good job. He's gaining a lot more confidence with jumping. At first, he would be terrified to do that kind of jump, but he's learning. All right, so nice fresh water in there for them. You can see even the other mamas, they like this system because they can put their whole beak into the water. So they do like this kind of system. My only problem with it is that it gets clogged. It gets really dirty really quickly. It gets disgusting because they scratch into it, so it just gets dirt in there, and then they'll bring their dirty beaks and put it all in there, and then the water it soaks up all that dirtiness, and it just ends up being dirty water. So I don't love that system just because it gets dirty really quickly, but other than that, it's quite nice. Look at this chick right underneath the rooster. It's probably almost hard to see with the contrast. She's just sitting, just moved there. She's just sitting in the sunlight, warming up, and also the warmth of the compost pile. So I guess that's a good reason to integrate hot compost with your baby chick system, because they'll be able to sit there and warm up when they need it. You can really see that Mom is scratching that pile, looking for critters in there for them. And all that stuff on the side, stuff that originally came from the top of the pile. So that's why with this system, since I'm integrating my chickens, anytime I turn a pile, I always first when I'm taking that top layer off, I'll just gather all the stuff that came off along the sides, put it into a pile, so I know to make sure that all that gets to the center of the pile, which will basically allow me to make sure that everything gets processed in the center, and anything that's just kind of left over there will still get processed. So it's just a matter of having a regular process that you can follow, and make sure that your compost gets hot enough and all the parts of your compost materials get into the center. Again, with my system, because I'm integrating the chickens, it's a little bit different. I'm going to be picking up some more hay hopefully today, if they have it in stock, so I can actually add more bedding in there, because after the compost pile turn, I basically took all the build, I took all the materials and made it into the compost. So I kind of ran low on materials. So there is currently a light bedding, but I like a nice deep mulchy bedding layer in my piles, or in my chicken pen. Apparently I can't talk this morning. All right, heading down into here. So this is the project I did yesterday. I basically cleaned up this whole garden bed. So I'm gonna kind of roll some footage from yesterday so you can kind of see what I did. But basically I cut off all the zucchini, all the leaves that had that kind of powdery mildew on them, just to make sure that doesn't spread around too much. And then basically just did a weed throughout the whole place, make sure I pulled anything that I didn't want in here. And once I kind of got all that set, I started working on this melon that was basically scrambling all on top of my pepper and everything. So what I did is I basically gently and slowly unhooked it from its current home, and then I actually put this little trellis up. And the trellis is just a piece of PVC pipe bent, and then two posts in the ground there. So that's it. And then I just tie a little bit of string so that it had somewhere to grow up. And I'm gonna try to direct all the melon growth up that little trellis. And I'll probably have to add some more string so it has something to grab onto, but that will hopefully help keep it off of the peppers in here, and keep it out of this garden, and give it a little space to roam free over there. After all that, I basically just kind of mulched. I cleaned up around the garden bed, harvested some grass there, and then mulched, and then also cut down some papaya leaves that were from the trees right around the garden bed, and use those as mulch as a little final layer. So kind of ends up nice, beautiful final layer with papaya leaves down, some nice grassy mulch, made sure everything that I want there is nice and protected. And yeah, it's a garden bed cleanup. Took me probably an hour or so to do all that, but I was taking my time because I was working on a couple other things at the same time, like cleaning these buckets and everything. So yeah, it took some time. We ended up harvesting 3 cucumbers from this vine yesterday, or these vines. There's multiple here. And I also came in, just basically pruned it for airflow. So I came into the center here, the center of this trellis, and I cut off any huge leaves that were there that were kind of right in the middle, and anything that was dead or dying off to the sides. I think I was pointing it out yesterday. Any of that was dead or dying, I just cut off to basically just encourage it to start producing some new shoots, and also to give it a good bit of airflow in the center there, so that it doesn't get stagnant and kind of gross and end up rotting or anything like that in the center. So yeah, just basic little maintenance, nothing major. I didn't take off too much from there. I don't want to stress it too much, but I did give it a nice little prune there. So those 2 beds, or really just that one bed cleaned up, and then the cucumbers. And today I think I'm going to try to quickly clean this bed, because I know I have green peppers coming on, and I want to make sure that they can make it to fruition without being attacked by all the weed pressure. So I'm going to come in here and start cleaning this up, and that's going to be pretty much probably the rest of the vlog. A little bit of a rain shower coming in, so Otto and I are hiding underneath the bananas while we work. I'm not sure if it's going to last too long, hopefully not. All right, guys, looks like the rain is gonna kind of be on and off for the rest of the morning, or at least the rest of this time I'm filming. So I'm actually just gonna say goodbye now because I'm just gonna do a little bit more cleanup in this bed, then I'm gonna finish it out anyway. So instead of having to keep you guys out here and get all my equipment a little bit soggy maybe, I'm just gonna say goodbye now. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy. If you do like what I'm doing, please subscribe. It really helps me get some more reach and have that motivation to keep going on these videos. Every time I get that new subscriber, it's another reason for me to wake up and keep going on these videos. So hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below. I'm happy to answer those. And until next time, have a good one.